My name is Vincent Diomede. I was electrician mate second class. Which brings me to the story I was going to tell you. When I went aboard, it was September. I guess the beginning of September. And the Harwood was always out on patrol. She patrolled the North Atlantic. Sometimes we would relieve picket ships. The United States used to have picket ships all around the country. And we would relieve a picket ship for 30 days in the North Atlantic. In November, we escorted the Nautilus, not knowing it was the Nautilus, for 30 days. And December, generally we'd just go out for a week and come back in. But January, the very beginning of January, we were scheduled to go to South America. When we left Newport, there was a foot of ice on the dock when we pulled out. That's how cold it was up in Rhode Island. And we went to Cuba, went through the Panama Canal, down the western side of South America, across the equator, down to Chile. It was a good cruise. On the way back, same thing through the Panama Canal, and we stopped there was 3 ships on our division, and we stopped in Havana, Cuba for R&R. And when we were in Havana, we were there 3 days. First day, I think I didn't get off Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, I went out and did sailor stuff, drinking, finding the bars and stuff. And on Sunday, Cuba, we decided to go, we were in Havana, and decided to go sightseeing in Havana. And the city of Havana really impressed me. It was nice, clean city, well taken care of, nice big palm trees along the main road. Except the only thing that struck me funny was that the banks and the post office had sandbags piled up on the sides of them with machine guns on the public buildings, which was a little strange. And we went down to Batistas' palace, and we were walking around the gardens of Batistas' palace. A lot of balconies on the palace, a palatial looking building. And all of a sudden these cars pulled up, these 2-door Chevys, took out machine guns and started shooting at the palace. And the palace had all these guards on these balconies with Tommy guns shooting back at them. And here was 3 sailors in the garden, and in between the crossfire, these 2 people trying to kill each other. And anyway, we crawled underneath these flower bushes, and people on the other side waving to us. And one of the guys I was with was a tall southerner, slow with everything else. I said, we're going to run where the people are. By the time I turned this way, he was already crossed, gone. So we ran through this garden, and people directed us in apartments, across roofs, in one door, out another door. They try to avoid the main streets. And what has happened is Castro had attacked Havana. And they brought us to this little office. We sat in this office, and this guy in the office didn't talk too much. He had a desk, drawers, closet, and people would come in, he'd open the closet, give them a rifle. Somebody would come in, open a drawer, and give them a box of cartridges. The people that came in there were civilians, they had no uniforms. So and like I said, there was very little, in that whole time, very little language. But he never ran out of ammunition, though. And we were there 7 hours. We were there about 4 or 5 hours, and he says, you want a drink? Yeah, I want a drink. We're sitting on the floor over here. Yeah. He opened up this big Spanish type door, ran across the street to the bar, and while the door was open, bullets were ricocheting off the buildings. In a car, there was a car parked there. The windshield got busted up with bullets. And this guy runs back. I thought he said when you want a drink, he was going to open a drawer and take out a bottle. No, he runs across, he's got a tray with a bottle and glasses on it, across the street while these bullets are flying all over. It's really true. and we finished that bottle, but that's another story. When we were going there, or when we were walking, there was a police officer that was directing traffic. Regular police officer uniform on, and he was directing traffic. Nice jolly guy, we were joking with him or something. And when we were jumping into this car, the same police officer was outside. He had bandoliers across his chest over here, with a long gun, but it was the same cop. It was an unusual time. I've met people, in fact, a good friend of mine that I know, whose uncle was a police officer at that time. In fact, when I mentioned, oh yeah, I was there, March 13th, 1957. Oh yes, yeah, March, he was a little boy, younger boy at that time. But his uncle was a police officer, and as soon as Castro took over, because the police were fighting them, at that time, they executed all the police officers. But after about 7 hours, and I don't know how, who, where, a black Packard taxi cab. Always struck me funny, there was a Packard taxi cab. Pulled up in front, some chief petty officer was driving. Get your asses in the back. The three of us piled in the back of it. He drove down the waterfront. Tanks were going through the city of Havana now because Batista called in the army to fight off Castro. Took us to the waterfront, get the hell out of here. We piled out, and the chief drove off. Climbed down a hardwood. Electrician gang was hooking up lights all around the ship because we couldn't get underway because of the tide. So they gave me a helmet. Everybody on deck had to wear a helmet. By the time I got there, all the regular helmets were taken. They gave me a radioman helmet. It was like a spaghetti pot on top of my head, hanging off. But anyway, we rigged lights all around the ship. They had armed guards on the ship all night, make sure nobody came near the ship. And first thing in the morning, we got underway. That was the last time I seen Havana. As far as I know, everybody made it back. There were guys that told stories about being in a bar, and people would open the door to the bar and spray machine gun fire around the bar. But all the sailors all made it back, and everybody on my ship made it back. And I never heard anybody else in the division that didn't make it back. Our squadron was 6 ships, and 3 ships went on the east coast of South America, and 3 ships went on the west coast. So the 3 ships, our division, was in Havana at that time. We went straight up to Newport, no stopping.